ARESxGOD here, and it's time to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. But this episode and last one, I don't know, is it just me or are the episodes just way too short? Like, I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm blinking, episode is over. I think this might be just, I can't wait to binge, rewatch everything here, but anyway, the episodes are just way too short. Now, besides that, I kind of like what they've been doing right now with Gojo, even though, of course, I want Gojo back. You guys know me, one of my favorite characters. I'm really curious how everybody else is gonna handle everything without Gojo. Same as last episode, the power balance has been lost, and here we see a bit of the aftermath of Gojo being sealed. And I'm happy to see that Yuji and the others are kind of stepping a bit more into their roles. You don't always have Gojo to deal with the problems here. But anyway, let's get into the episode. Now, like I said, Yuji, Megumi are getting a bit more into their own, and I'm also really starting to like we're gonna get to him also. Liked when Yuji just tried to hit the veil to break it, and even Yu was impressed, hey, how strong is this guy? He can even give Nanami a run for his money, which I don't think we've ever gotten an explication where the strength is coming from Yuji, because he had it ever since episode 1, even before curses, even before we knew anything about the sorcerer world, which I hope we're gonna get at some point explication about that. But here they figure out that the veils is being kept up in place from the building. They're using that same thing where the more obvious is something, or when the power system works, when you reveal your technique, it gets stronger. Kind of a same application here for the veil. So they go above, and we see the trio. It was the old lady, Ogami, I don't know how that mustache twirling guy, I'm just gonna call him old dude, and the normie looking guy, I don't know how to call them exactly. I don't think we've been given their names. They're above there, and they're the ones in control of the veil. But thankfully we have Yuji and Megumi quickly reach on top using some wires here. So we have a bit of a fight. They split up. We have Yuji and Megumi, they go after the old guy, and then we have Yu staying above trying to get the old lady, which she seems to be a medium, and the guy that stand with her, I think they're nephews and grandmother or something. But here, what I really like, but I'm also worried here, because when we get scenes like this, you have Yu and Nanami flashback a bit, showing how much Yu respects Nanami, even wanting his support to get to first grade. But Nanami saying, hey, you should be able to do it alone with your technique, but Yu wants Nanami support, because he always thinks, what would Nanami do? He puts himself down a bit, just showing how much he respects Nanami. But I'm worried when we get scenes like this. I'm getting the feeling something bad is going to happen to some of the characters, which I hope I'm wrong. I really like Nanami. I don't think Nanami is gonna die, but I'm a bit worried about Yu after this, and even more after what happened here right after the flashback. We see a bit of his technique. At first I thought he can create giga drills like Gurren Lagann, but there's a bit more to that. His technique, the Seance Auspicious Beast Summon, he can control 4 beasts. One is the technique there with the giga drill. Only see 2 of them, like we haven't seen all of them here fighting against them, trying to get to the old lady. But the main fight that happened this episode is the other one, the old guy versus Yuji and Megumi. Now, this guy at the start was very tough. They were pummeling him, trying their best, combo attacking, everything. He wasn't really taking damage here, so both fights happening at the same time. But the curious thing before we get into the fight was the part with Yu. You have that guy that stayed on the roof, swallows something that looked like a bone in a way, in a small vial or something, and the granny Ogami said Zenin Toji, and the guy starts transforming into Toji a bit. So we know Toji is dead, but did they get pieces of his body? How did they even manage that? Let alone, how does this work? You transform into the guy whose body you eat, or something along those lines, or Is that summoning else like somebody that was dead, same like the technique from Naruto, the reincarnation technique there? I don't know how that's work, but that's the first thing I thought about, the Naruto technique, when you have all of the past dead people coming back to life, they're being controlled, of course, but here there's also another extra point. Somebody living was being transformed into them, which that's why I'm worried. I don't think Yu's gonna be able to defeat Toji if he has the same powers or skills there, to say the least. Even Gojo had issues against somebody like that. But also see a bit of a flashback just showing how much Gojo was basically keeping the entire world in control, like everything surrounding him in the Jujutsu world when he was born. And also the flashbacks of the family or the granny there, they were kind of assassins, serial killers, and the old lady even used dead girl bodies, killing people to take their shape and kill her targets. She killed a father in the form of his own daughter there. So yeah, that would be kind of fucked up, like that. You're spending time with your daughter enjoying life, even on your birthday. She comes to hug you and she stabs you in the back of the neck. And yeah, that's a very good assassination technique, but also a very fucked up one here. But they're a bit weird. They really like their freedom, doing whatever they wanted, going under the radar in a way, but they're also greedy because and they're fucked up, to say the least. One guy was having bodies buried, skinning them alive to see how they tick. And yeah, this felt like a serial killer episode in a way, that flashback here. But they also get a contract, or even forced into taking this contract. A bounty has been put on Gojo, so even from birth a lot of people wanted him dead, and even the curses started evolving because they sensed Gojo was approaching to be born. But the bounty gets put on him when he's a kid, and even since as a kid he was intimidating them, they hesitated, that felt how strong Gojo is. Like, you have this anomaly, this abomination in a way, if you look at it that way, how powerful Gojo actually is in this world, and they backed off. They were too scared to even go after him, and he sensed them. Now that's why they have a grudge against Gojo. They hated for taking their freedom away, which that's a weird way of thinking at things, but from the perspective of somebody like them, kind of makes sense here. So now that Gojo is sealed, yeah, everybody's gonna go wild. And I kind of like this, because I think while Gojo is the coolest thing in Jujutsu Kaisen for me, is also the biggest problem. And I said this in multiple videos, also on the podcast. You have this cool character, this overpowered character, but when he's not the main character, this is not an overpowered main character series, he kind of solves all problems in a way, because Yuji can't really step into his shoes to become the main character. You have Gojo being this powerful, is cool, I love all of the moments with him, I love his personality, his design, everything. But when he's on the field, there aren't any stakes, so to say, you know. So I liked the seal thing, what happened here. Of course, I wish Gojo was the main character or whatever, but looking a bit more from an objective point of view, I'm curious how everything is gonna change, how all of the characters are gonna be forced to evolve without Gojo, who's gonna die, if somebody's gonna die, how this incident is gonna be solved here. But yeah, I know I also have that spoiler, like I mentioned, when it was all over the place. I have no context about that, so I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just going by what I know with the anime, and when we get to that point, I'm gonna worry about that then. Now here we have the fight starting with the old guy kind of having the advantage versus Yuji and Megumi here. But they figure out his technique, or at least Megumi does at the start, and meanwhile Yu was getting beaten the shit out of him by Toji. Like, that guy fully transformed into Toji, which I hope we're gonna get a better explanation next episode. And here we have Megumi dropping an elephant on that guy, Yuji throwing a car at him, and they both of them start attacking at the same time in combo, and revealing his technique being inversed. Like, when you attack him with a strong attack, it becomes a weak attack. and when it's a weak attack it becomes a strong attack. But there's also a limit. Even Yuji said it, we can defeat him with a flick. No, there has to be an upper and lower limit. Like if he activates his technique and a gust of wind touches his face, he's probably gonna die. So there are some limits to that. So they both combine and attack in different power levels to actually wound him this time. But my favorite part of this episode, honestly, Yuji is really starting to feel a bit more like a main character this episode, and also a bit previous episode, but especially this one, with my favorite part being while they're fighting there, they beat up that guy, but the last punch was landed by Yuji, and the way he landed that punch, he went full power there, channeling everything, getting ready. Even that guy was like, yeah, this is gonna be a strong punch, but he stops it. Like he actually stops it in his face, stops his momentum for a bit, just to fool him, to bypass his technique, and then goes again. And I love punches like that, something like a delay punch coming right in your face. That was one of the most satisfying punches ever. So yes, I'm very excited to see where Yuji is gonna evolve along with everybody else without Gojo. But yes, the episode just feels way too short in general. Now I'm really curious what you guys thought about the episode. What do you think so far with the arc, and how are things without Gojo? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, helps me quite a lot, and you guys get the latest videos on the series that I follow. So keep enjoying Jujutsu Kaisen. Make sure to check out the podcast, because anime. Bye bye.